Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm answering a great question, which is, what if you are hired or promoted to do SEO in-house for a website? And what things do you actually look at? How do you actually know what to change or what to fix or what to do in order to improve SEO? Now, that's an excellent question, and there's a lot of levels to this. Now, hopefully, if you've been assigned this role, you are familiar with some basic principles of SEO. Maybe you follow some SEO blogs or YouTube channels or whatever it is, but you've been reading up on SEO. I think the hard part is if you've only done SEO for one website or maybe one or two websites, it's really hard to know what actually works and what doesn't work because there is a lot of misinformation out there, or somebody will have it, will say something and then it gets repeated like a bunch of times, and it might not be true. So these are the things that I would initially look at when you're trying to raise your company's rankings and you're trying to get more traffic versus the competition. First thing I would do is get your company to invest in one good multi-purpose tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush. That would be a good place to start. Now, one thing I would say, what you're going to be looking for is you're going to be using this tool to kind of look at not only how many keywords the competition is ranking for, but what sorts of keywords are actually driving their traffic. Maybe they're getting traffic from keywords that are not all that important. They're not what we call like money keywords. They're not buying intent keywords. But I would say stay away from any recommendations that these tools have of disavowing toxic links. Don't disavow any links. If these tools tell you to do it, don't do it. But what you're going to be using these tools primarily for is to be looking at the backlink profile of some of your competitors. So there's three areas that I usually see where companies have a hard time with SEO. Now, before I go into this, I'm going to link down below in the show notes a link to what I actually do in a SEO audit when I'm coming in, onboarding a new client and starting to do their SEO. And I want to do this whole audit down here before anything to kind of evaluate like where they're at in comparison to their competitors. But you can go through that if you want. But the three areas where I see the most trouble is the content on the site is not right, or it's not up to par with the other competitors that are out there. So what happens a lot of time is a lot of people treat SEO as if it's one of the laws of physics, which is an object that's in motion will stay in motion unless it's hit with another object, or it comes to an object, another object that stops its path. The problem is you can't rank number one in SEO forever. Just because you ranked number one or number two or number three like a long time ago doesn't mean that it'll stay that way forever. And even if you were number one in whatever term that you're ranking for now, maybe 6 months ago you got started dipping down. The truth of the matter is Google changes their algorithm all the time. Your competitors are always moving all the time. So if you're not doing anything, if you're not being proactive, then that's going to be an issue. But the three things that I notice, content, that's number one. Make sure that you're matching the searcher intent of what the actual search is. So one of the things that I do in my audits is I look at the actual rankings for that keyword. Let's say that you're going for a keyword. Let's say you're trying to sell air compressors. And let's say if you Google air compressors, that most of them are e-commerce pages, but maybe you're trying to rank with a page where it's just information on air compressors, or it's a comparison of all the different air compressors. But if 8 out of the other 10 results in the top 10 are sales pages, like e-commerce pages, then your website needs to have an e-commerce functionality in it in order to rank that high. People need to be able to place an order. So the opposite is also true. If you're going for a term, and most of and you're trying to rank a sales page like an e-commerce page where people check out and buy it, and most of the other results are, people just trying to figure out what that thing is, then an informational page, then you need to have an informational page. So matching the content and making sure that it's actually high quality content, and matching the elements that Google seems to favor, are three things within that content subject matter that you need to address. So once you get to the content of the page, and like you've verified that you're matching the same searcher intent as the search results that are actually ranking, and that you have high quality content that answers a lot of the same questions or addresses the same searcher intent as all the other pages that are ranking. The other thing that I would look for as far as on page is making sure, do you actually mention the keyword that you're trying to rank for in that page? Because a lot of times what people will do is they'll get clever with wording, or they'll use how they refer to a thing, to a product, to a service, to whatever it is they're selling. They'll refer to it in the way that they refer to it inside their company, or the way that they refer to it personally. But instead of getting clever with it, it's best to use the terms that people are using to actually search for it. So however your customers search for a thing, that is what you need to address. So you can use a tool like KW Finder, or there's lots of them out there. Ubersuggest, Ahrefs has one built in, but you can see the actual keyword volume, search volume per month on certain keywords. So maybe the way that you refer to something is not the way that customers refer to it, and maybe nobody is searching for the way that you actually refer to your product or service. So make sure you mention the keywords actually in the page title, most important, the H1 tag, so the actual headline of the page, and then further down in the body text and subheadlines. That's a very important thing to do. So second thing where I see a lot of people fail, or I should say an opportunity that exists, is the companies are getting outranked by their competition because they have not been proactive about getting backlinks from good sites. So backlinks are links from other sites to your website. And basically the more links from reputable sites, not spam sites, but the more links that you get from reputable sites, and especially if they're correlated to your industry or the thing that you do, the more closely related, the better. But the more links to those that you have, the better you're going to do in a head-to-head battle with your competition. And what happens a lot of times is your competition has, maybe 5 to 10 times as many links as you do coming in. So you need to get creative and look at the types of links that they're actually getting. This is where SEO tools are the most effective, and this is what people use them for most often, is to kind of check the backlink profile of their competitors. So if you are noticing that you have only 40 sites linking in, and your competition has 400 or 500 sites linking in, then you got some work to do. The third thing that you should look at is when you're doing this actual evaluation of your competition and the pages that are outranking yours, look at how the page is designed. I know this is a thing that people don't want to hear, but oftentimes you're going to need to boost up the design of your site. Sometimes your design is fine, but a lot of times it might have been 5 or 6 years since you last designed the site. Maybe it's been 10 years. Maybe it's been 15 years since you designed your site. And it's no wonder your competition are beating you, because that is one of the signs of quality. Now, it's hard for Google to decipher what's a quality designed site, but it is easy for your users your customers. And what Google does do is actually see how people engage with the page, and they have different metrics that they can track from the time that people go into the search result until they come on your page. So they can kind of tell if people are happy with that page or not. So they might not be able to have a critical eye when it comes to design, but they can tell if people are happy with what they're seeing or not, or if they're just think, this looks old, I better get out of here. Those things do affect SEO. So the biggest things are really content and links. The design, the user experience, those things are also very, very important. Do not neglect them. So the biggest thing I would do is assess each page that you're trying to rank for, actually stack it up against what's actually ranking and see if you can find the differences. It's like those games that you used to see in the puzzle books or maybe in the Sunday comic strip papers. Can you spot the differences? For those who are old enough to remember Sunday papers. But can you spot the differences? And it's basically that's what you're doing. You're seeing what's the difference between my page, my site, and these other competitors that are beating us. And if you can write down all the things that are different, I bet you can find exactly what you need to fix. I hope that is a helpful start for someone who is being promoted to an SEO position or being hired on as an SEO position in-house. If you have follow-up questions, definitely leave it in the comments below. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. We're here publishing videos every single day to help the industrial and manufacturing industry with SEO. That is all I have for this video. Until next time, peace.